Croatia and Bosnia. I don't know the original origins of the dish, but it's quite a popular dish made there. So I will be making my version of Börek. Now this is the meat Börek I'll be putting together. So on one side we have the meat. Now this is just 500 grams of Irish steak mince and with 15% fat. So all I did with this was add one finely diced onion in a little bit of oil. I added the meat, and I also added a diced carrot and a diced potato. It's like a medium-sized potato. And for flavouring, I added alava, which is dry paprika powder, so just 1 spoon. And I also added Vegeta, and this is a vegetable seasoning. It's absolutely delicious, and this is 1 kg, and this is from Croatia. So I added just 2 spoons. You can put more if you wish. And then alongside that I will be using oil, and I've decided to use rapeseed oil, and this is organic. It's up to you which oil you use. I don't know which oil they traditionally use, but I'm comfortable with this oil. And to that we also add a mixture of crème fraiche, and this is just 300 millilitres of crème fraiche, and that's mixed with 2 free-range medium eggs, organic if possible, and I've just used 2. So, and that's the mixture here, and it was just mixed together. Now this is a pastry dish, so I've also bought Filo pastry, and this is 250 grams all-purpose pastry sheets. You get 20 large sheets, and it contains no animal fats, no added sugars or flavours, and it's suitable for vegetarians. So the sheets come out quite large, and I just cut them in half so it actually fits into this particular dish. And now I will start to begin, and I will talk through how I actually well, I did kind of mention how I've cooked it, but yeah, this takes about 30 minutes, but you must let this cool. Okay, so I'm going to start with covering the dish with some oil. Now this first stage of oil, and it always does seem like a lot, it has to be done fully on the dish, otherwise it will stick. The Filo pastry will stick. Now you can use any dish of any size really, but obviously the larger the dish, the more ingredients you may need. Now what I tend to do is a sort of double technique of the Filo pastry, but I'll show you that. And then I'm going to add 1 layer and just sort of try and get it in the best way you can. And then I'm going back in with just a little bit more oil. I only tend to dip it in twice because the brush holds in quite a lot of oil itself. And then I'm going in with the second sheet. Sometimes they're a bit awkward to separate, but they get there eventually. And this time I've gone in the other way round, and I'm just going to place that in. So I'm kind of making a this kind of acts like a, well, I use 4 spoons, but it almost works like I don't know, it kind of puffs it up if you want to think of it in that way. Now the next sheet is going to be the folded one, so I'm going to just put oil on one side of the mould and fold it in half. So this is folded in half and it's just got oil on in the middle of it. And then I'm just going to dab some oil on there. And then I'm going to go in with another sheet. And this time I haven't folded it. I'm just going in with the full one. Just keep it lifted from the edges. And then I'm going to go in with the meat again. So I'm kind of, I suppose, using like a ladle and a half of the meat, but you don't want too much. But what I find is that because of this type of the dish itself, I do a little bit more meat towards the base of it, and then I do slightly less towards the middle, because the middle is a bit harder to cook, and then I just continue on. So now I need another half sheet. I'm sorry that's not in the camera, I apologise. But before I fold it in half, all I'm actually doing is putting some oil on one side and then folding it in half. And then again some oil. So you're getting the gist of how I'm actually building this dish. So I'm going in with the singular, but this time I'm going in the other way. And just trying to just press it down a little bit and oil it. Yeah, so basically, yeah, you're just literally building up the dish. Now you might be quite worried that that's actually quite a lot of oil, but it's not as much as you think. So it's actually absorbed by the pastry pretty well. Now, from my understanding, just some background, whatever I seem to know about Börek, is people tend to have this as a breakfast dish, and there are 2 versions of it. So the first one I'm showing you is the meat version. Now traditionally I'm not sure if they put in the potatoes or carrots, but I quite like it with the potatoes and carrots. It almost feels similar to like, what's it called, Cornish pasty. Yeah, it feels similar to that, but it's much more, let's have a look this way, it's just more, it's not as dense as a pastry, Cornish pasty, sorry. So anyway, yeah, they have 2 versions. So this is the meat version, and they also have a vegetarian version, which is a very common classic as well. And with the vegetarian version, they put in I use cottage cheese, just sort of like one average size tub, I suppose, maybe about 500 grams maybe. I hope to show you that version as well, and it's exactly the same way I make the cottage cheese version, and that is to build it up in the exact same way, but the only difference is that where I'm using meat, you use cottage cheese. And the only other advice I would give is that you don't put too much salt in the vegetarian dish, because the cottage cheese is pretty salty on its own. So I tend to just put a bit of salt in this mixture there, this one, and yeah, and usually that's usually enough. If you don't put any salt in whatsoever, there's just not as much in the cottage cheese as you need. But yeah, basically instead of using the meat, as I'm doing now, you just add the you just add the cottage cheese instead and do exactly the same thing and just build it up. But their version of it, I don't think it's made like this whatsoever. I've just adapted it because I haven't got the ability to do it the classic way. But I have seen them make the pastry, and it's fabulous. I think there's some videos on YouTube. So if you type in Börek, B-U-R-E-K, I believe. Yeah, if you type in Börek, they'll show you how to make the pastry. And you can imagine you've got a very, very large table. And I think they kind of like put a cloth underneath. They make the dough. And then they literally start stretching out the dough of the pastry. And it's fascinating and amazing how thin they get it, literally this thin. And then they just stretch it out, and they use, I saw them use a bit of oil. But instead of them making it like this, once it's all stretched out, they sprinkle this out similar to this. And I'm not sure if everybody uses this mix. My friend gave me this recipe. She's from Croatia, but she's Serbian. And yeah, so they while it's out on the table, they put out say the meat mix, for example, and they just sprinkle it out, and then they actually start rolling it. So they kind of look almost like sausages, rolled sausages, but they're not. And yeah, they just roll it up actually, and they make these sort of long tubes, and like they're just completely rolled out. It's amazing. And then they sort of shape them, put them in the oven, oil them of course, and sorry, I've got two stuck together. Yeah, they oil them and bake them, and they're absolutely fascinating. They're far more crispy than doing it my way. Just a quick thing, I'm actually putting the second sheet in that way, more so because as this is getting higher, that one's getting quite short. But yeah, so the pastry, yeah, it then they oven it, and yeah, they have it for breakfast, I believe, and they have it with this sort of kind of like a yogurt, but it's not like the yogurt in the UK. It's a different type of yogurt, and yeah, they have that. It's fantastic. But I've kind of chose to have this a little bit differently. I'm going to have a few things on the side. decided to make this with just some steamed cabbage, just normal cabbage, and some steamed carrots. So it's more like a dinner dish. You could also have some potatoes on the side if you want. And I don't mean any disrespect to them, but yeah, it's just the way I like to have it because I'm not having it for breakfast. But yeah, they tend to have quite a lot of good dishes there. I know a few other ones. I know how to make sarma, if I say that correctly, and that's a pickled cabbage, rolled pickled cabbage dish, and that is absolutely fantastic. But I have to say, it's an acquired taste. It's not, if you're not used to pickled cabbage, it's something that you'll find quite different to eat. But I absolutely love it. It is quite a long process to cook it, but it's not too bad, and it's manageable. I mean, you start getting used to it, and yeah. So, and I could make the cabbage is rolled into there's meat rolled into the cabbage, so it's absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Okay. So I'm kind of going a little less with the running out of I'm coming towards the end of my pastry amount. I think maybe you can use another half packet if you want to have a lot more pastry, but for this size container, or dish, shall I say, I'm quite happy with this amount of pastry. It does the job basically. So just continue building it. You can see it starts to get a little dry, but it's okay. So I haven't got too much meat left. I might not even use the entire lot, and for the top I'm actually just putting a bit more meat now. A, to finish it off, but also I just feel a bit more confident that the top half will cook better. It's just that in this dish I don't think the middle is the best part of the cooking, so I tend to put less in the middle. And I'm actually going to just build this with less pastry now. I'm just doing singular ones and less doubles. Technically, maybe I shouldn't use all of this, but I don't mind. So I think you can have quite a bit of a meaty top, probably. Okay, but I'm just trying to see how many sheets I've got left. I haven't got too many. Yeah, I'm going to have to leave this part because it's always awkward to judge. But I'd say there was only like 2 little ladlefuls left. And now I'm going to bring this together. And I'm going to do a double up one. Like so. And press it down. Now at this point I like to bring in the sides like that, if it lets me. Yeah, I'm just slowly bringing it in. And then I'm going to add the layer. Put some oil on there. Just roughly So, well, it definitely has a tasty outcome. So I suppose this is the modified or adjusted version of it for me anyway. And I'm just adding this one. And then I'm going to add just one more sheet, which is the final sheet. Like so. Just tuck it in. Like so. And this time I'm just going to layer it with the white sauce or the crème fraiche. So I just want to layer that one. Oh, apologies, I'm sorry. And I'm just going to drizzle on the rest of the crème fraiche. Just like that. And just spread it out. And that's it, that's all I do. But I'll make sure the pastry isn't sticking up anywhere. And this acts like, it's almost like the consistency of like quiche at the top. And I put it on a very low heat, so I usually put it on gas mark for about 30 to 40 minutes until the top has risen and it's golden. So that's how I make my meat Börek. And just to show you, I'll be using cabbage as a side dish, and it's just normal cabbage, just chopped down, and I've just let it soak in some water. And I love how the water collects in the little pockets of the cabbage. So yeah, I'm just going to either boil it or steam it. I'll probably steam it. But cabbage is obviously good. So that's some cabbage. I'll be having as a side dish to it. Okay. Alright then everyone, I hope that was enjoyable. Apologies for any excess sounds. And yeah, I'm gonna just take a sip of my coffee. And